And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with a Divergent Amateur Series. Drink them if you got them, smoke them if you got them. We're going to go right into the semifinals right here, guys. The draft soon to be underway. The teams: Team Blank versus Team Adrenaline. Team Blank is a team who's been around for quite some time and whose results have proven themselves to be a contender for the finals today. But we've been chasing Adrenaline since the start of this broadcast, Dreadnought, and
Yep.
they have been putting on absolutely dominating performances. If they can carry that momentum and that morale boost that they have into this, I think we might see them moving on to the finals.
It's definitely an opportunity. And like I said, I've played a little bit with the guys on Adrenaline and Solo Queue once in a while. Like I said, I do recognize a little bit of the names, but Blank for me is definitely the team that I know the most about when it comes to at least play styles, player history, and everything else, because they are one of the few teams that actually compete in these tournaments that I have actually faced personally. Their roster has obviously changed quite a bit since that time, but they have, like I said, if they managed to play against me at some point while playing on Tempo Storm or anything else, and it wasn't just like in a one-time best of one round one tournament, it was definitely midway through. They're definitely doing something right, and they have for some time here. So I'm excited to see where it goes. As I said, I do believe that Dragonshire is their favorite map. At least I saw them play on Dragonshire a majority of the games, and I feel like that was their decision. They had this very unique. I guess not so unique. They very much like to abuse the Falstad global strat with a Thrall for a winning lane, decent in the rotations, and then abusing Falstad and his global in the late game to secure Dragon Knights and try and win the game. So
It's all about those DC rotations, man. Those DC rotations.
that's all DK is about, really. Like the whole map is just about who can rotate better than their opponents, who has the better comp, and just playing as best as you possibly can to team, really. And those late game rotations are all that matter. But
Well, what I want to see coming out here from Adrenaline is the hallmark of a great team is their ability to be diverse. And what we've seen thus far in Adrenaline is, sure, they've been successful, but they haven't been necessarily diverse when it comes to drafting or when it comes to strategy on the battleground. It's all been about drafting around strong initiation heroes, getting into team fights, dictating the flow of team fights. They've went with Stitches before. It was pretty good. But that's what I want to see. I want to see maybe a little bit more dynamic drafting coming out of them. We'll see here because again, Dragonshire is a map where obviously hard engage we talked about before is always good to have. You can't go wrong by drafting around it. But a little diversity, I think, will really go a long way in the long-term results for a team like Adrenaline.
yeah, absolutely, I agree. And even though I guess I feel like compositionally they were a little diverse with the last game. That's not even
Now that I think
the
about
Lunara. Their draft was diverse-ish. The only repetitive hero I believe was Thrall. But at the same time, the results kind of came across the same just from their opponents being overly aggressive, allowing their comp to thrive, even though they didn't have necessarily the most amount of CC. As we can see, Blank in these map bans, they end up taking out the Dragonshire, their Adrenaline, so we will not see them on them. Battlefield of Eternity or Sky Temple once again, pretty much the North American favorites here at the Divergent Gaming Amateur Tournament. And Sky Temple is going to be locked in. Here we go into the draft, ladies and gentlemen, with Blink being first pick, first ban. We're going to see another Zagara. This is the first time we've seen Adrenaline not on
Thrall.
first pick, so
There
they
it
just
is.
right out the gates they say Thrall.
And that has been the hero that's been the common denominator for Adrenaline throughout the series. Every single series that we've had today in tonight's broadcast has been Thrall. So Blank doing their homework, going, you know what, we're going to take out this hero, don't give it to him. And there's the Zagara being taken away. Obviously, Zagara thrives on this map very, very well. But you put him in there in that bottom lane, as you said, a winning lane situation, which is what Zagara does. She wins lanes.
Absolutely, and Thrall being banned out, which then leads to the ban on Zagara, and then what looks like a hover over the Kael'thas and a possible pickup here. I really don't like the ban from Adrenaline on the Zagara there. I feel like they should have left that up along with the Kael'thas, especially with the Thrall ban. I really liked Blanks open on the Thrall ban. It left, like I said, essentially it gave them in a winning position because Adrenaline did decide to go with one of those powerhouse damages. And Blank is going to lock in that Kael'thas. Thrall, which has been their go-to kind of this early in the rotations. I don't know. With Thrall off the board, do we think we're going to see a drastic shift in composition from them? I feel like they kind of have to a little bit, but at the same time, I don't feel like we're going to see that from them. I feel like they're going to be looking for that kind of melee initiation CC lockdown as before. I am really interested to see what happens with a Jaina. As I said, that's 2 games in a row that Jaina's just gone nowhere in the draft here. False going to be pick up.
I like
nice.
it.
Yeah.
as you mentioned, playing into that global mobility that can yield very good, strong results on a battleground like Sky Temple. So, first pick Falstad, not only his global mobility, but was really has brought him to the front of North America competitive Heroes of the Storm. Is that Mighty Gust is such a strong disengagement tool. Later in the game, post level 20, you can see some cute shenanigans where he flies across the enemy team and pushes them into the rest of your team. That's always fun to do. I actually remember the first day that Mighty Gust came out, Dreadnought. I don't know if you remember this. You and I queued up with some of your old teammates, and we actually did that for like 5 games straight,
Absolutely.
and we had so much fun with it.
It was actually the first day the rank system came out, and
That's
the
right.
24-hour grind to the rank system. I constantly
Yes.
was diving forts and gusting the opponents backwards, just left and right. But yeah, here we go. The lockdown on the Sonya, decent prioritization coming out there because of the Thrall band being one of the few really great melee assassins here. I'm still surprised again to kind of let the Jaina go through at this point. Tyrande instantly locked in, taking the ETC, at least the hover here over the Murden, showing the strength of the nerf onto Murden teams.
Yeah.
Even with having the safer CC, the longer CC. On the hero, just the lack of influence from the heroic might be enough for them to pull away. It looks like they might decide to say, hey, guess what? We actually don't care which tank it is. We're going to take a damage that we want it more. Let you ban out one a little bit. Try and figure it out. We don't care so much about the tanks. I personally wouldn't struggle too much about the tanks with the Murden changes now. I feel like both are really good. And the Rain are going to be picked up there. I like that a lot. It does take away from the sit back, do as much damage, face roll tank composition that Adrenaline's kind of been building. With the Gust, with Sonya can just eat tanks alive. She hasn't been affected by the nerf yet. That is only on the PTR there. So I like it. I wouldn't be surprised to get a tank ban that they don't want to see Blink to work with. I also wouldn't be surprised at a support ban here. And there it is. Diablo's going to be hovered. There it is.
I like it. Obviously, Diablo and Tyrande are a very, very deadly composition from the early game. They can be great at roaming across the map and synergizing well with the toss into the Lunar Flare, as well as just at any point in time, Diablo initiates, followed up with a Lunar Flare, get an early pick off. They're hovering over that Jaina. We actually might see Jaina make a presence. Nope. I think Blank is just faking us out a little bit, taking away that Uther. I think would be a good choice as well, because obviously Uther and Sonya, they are just very good friends in battle. That Divine Shield gives Sonya a little bit of a speed boost, but nope, they're going to go back to that Jaina. So finally, Jaina taken out of the equation. Though the big question is, would she would have been picked up anyways? We don't know. But Blank don't want to deal with the rushdown style hero of Jaina.
I think that was Adrenaline, or Blank showing that they've done a little bit of research on Adrenaline, at least recognizing that Jaina hasn't been picked or banned in the first 2 games. They started with the hover, and then they took a minute to be like, is this really what we want to do? And ended up locking it down there. I like the ban. Jaina and Sonya work so stupidly well together as a comp. It just, the slow provided for Sonya to just smash everything with her W. Wrath of the Berserker running the entire time. They both have really good early game. They both have really strong mid to late game. Just together, they are the ones initiating on you in a situation and you don't have a way to peel off, you're going to have a very bad time against those two. So I do like the ban there. Uther's going to be picked up. I wouldn't be surprised to see an ETC in this type of situation if they're worried about the deny there. It also synergizes a little bit with the Uther pick and the Sonya pick there. Just mainly because they're going to deny one of the CC-oriented tanks from Blank to work with that Tyrande. Or I wouldn't be... damage dealer here. Would we be looking for a damage or a tank as well? I don't know. Adrenaline's got a unique draft going, honestly. I'm surprised by their approach to the game, especially with the early fall stats so far. Blink, I feel like, took a little bit of an early rainer as well. There's the ETC, the deny and the synergy. I like it. I'll be more interested to see where they go with their last pick here. Blank, their response, most likely, do you think Murden pick ban is enough? Like the Murden, not ban, the nerf is enough to actually hinder his usage here? Diablo's banned out, ETC's picked up.
They're hovering over the Tassadar, but I mean, Murden with Tyrande is still incredibly potent. You know what I mean? The Stormbolt into Lunar Flare, followed up by Kael'thas Burst, followed up by Rainer auto attack damage. That's still very, very strong. It's just the avatar, the zoning capabilities that Muradin once had with the mini stun, and obviously the harassment that was associated with the mini stun's not there. Tassadar, he's very good, obviously in lane. He's one of the better solo laners. Not quite as impactful as a Thrall or a Zagara, but still, his lane is usually relatively safe. He can deal and mitigate with pushes very well. And another tool that Tassadar has, which has really high value on this map is he can help negate the objective of the temples. He drops down those shields on and pretty much can help soak up a lot of the damage from the objective of this battleground.
Absolutely here, and the Toronto Tassadar pickup here is this weird.
Mm-hmm.
They actually, it's not that the picks are weird. It's the play style of them are weird and rare to see together. And the Stitches hover, I actually kind of like this pickup a lot.
Yeah, I actually do like that too. I agree.
The beauty of that pick is what it does is now with Tassadar Tyrande, not only do you have an absurd amount of vision, you have really great poke, and then when you do get the hook, you have an absurd amount of kill potential.
Yep.
This is actually a comp that C9 used to run on Cursed Hollow a lot. And were very impactful with it. They did not run Raynor or Kael'thas because both of those heroes, one wasn't in the game, the other wasn't very good at the time. They would run it with more of kind of like a Zagara with more delay and everything else. Kind of like that fish in the barrel strategy that I was talking about earlier. And here it is being executed by Blink, maybe possibly showing their age a little bit with knowing the strategy. Stitches with the minor changes here. I mean, they've been about a bit. I mean...
You know what they say, man. With age comes wisdom, and I think wisdom is what has been shown here in the draft. They draft so very smart. It's a well-rounded draft. It plays to the battleground very well. It has decent early game. Obviously, with Kael'thas, Tyrande, they have good roaming potential. Stitches, Tyrande, hello. Just strong synergy between not only couple heroes coupled together. There's strong synergy, but the 5 of them together. There's a lot of synergy with them all together. So I really, really like seeing that in drafts. Blink has executed this draft very, very well. But on the other side of the coin, Edrenaline, their draft's pretty good too, man. Sonya Uther is nothing to shake a stick at.
No, I like Blank's composition, mainly because of the lack of. I don't mean to be harping on the Jaina as much. It was a smart ban. Okay, so here's the problem, right? Let's talk about team fighting here, right? So Blank,
don't forget the lobby.
They're sitting there. They have Blank's got not only do they have Kael'thas Spike at 13, which is absurd damage. They have Raynor, who's one of the best tank killers in the entire game. They've got Tyrande for the vision, Tassadar for the healing. They just have an absurd amount of cross healing. They have an absurd amount of isolation with the wall. They have follow up for the Stitches hook. So it's very hard for Edrenaline to actually force an initiation, and the only way they're going to be able to do that is with ETC getting a godlike mosh in a flank, or False going out of position with the Gus, or Sonya diving the backline, right? And all of these situations I feel like are pretty easily disengaged on, except for the Colossal ETC Mosh Pit if he hits all the right targets. Every other one they can actually deal with because of their cross healing and their utility, especially if we don't see a Gorge. If we see a Bile, then every one of those situations become harder and harder and harder to deal with Adrenaline's composition here. Whereas if we did see that Jaina, then the disengage that Blank would want is a far harder mission. It doesn't make their comp worse, but it makes it far more difficult than what they want with their type of comp. And that's why I put so much absurd emphasis on this Jaina pick back and forth. I do apologize. I sound like a broken record at this point. But this is actually where it was like a good pick before. Now I feel like that was like one of the best bans they could have had here, not willing to take that risk. Out of that, so really well done there by Blank in the draft. Overall, though, Adrenaline, as I said before, it's not like they have a bad comp by any means. They definitely do not have a bad comp. They picked the Vala to compensate for the lack of Jaina. She's gonna have Frost Shot. I see a Q build here without Frost Shots, I'm gonna cry a little bit. I definitely want to see the spread damage. Number one, the healers aren't the best against spread damage. Number two, they need that utility on the slow. They absolutely need to see that from their comp. And flanking and hard initiation, not playing that fish in the barrel strategy is what I think Adrenaline absolutely must do in this game.
And that's one of the ways of dealing with that strategy, the poke and soak, the harassment, or I like it, the fish in the barrel strategy, which you've been calling it throughout tonight's broadcast. I'm definitely going to be stealing that from you. I hope you don't mind.
No.
Is hard engage. Oh, there's the hook on the Stitches. How are we going to deal with it? We're going to engage on the Stitches. So, I mean, the one thing that Blank has is an ability to follow up on that hook, but Tassadar, he has great shields with his damage mitigation, but they don't have anyone like an Uther or a Rhaegar or someone like that to do a huge, big boom, burst healing, ancestral healing, holy light, divine shield. So there might be potential where if they don't get that initial pick off when they do get a hook and Adrenaline engages appropriately off of that hook, that Blink will find themselves in a pretty awkward position. We just put a lot into trying to take out this person. That person can go down, and all of a sudden now we're getting walked over. And that's a story we see sometimes with Stitches drafts. But guys, we're going to get into this map. We're going to get into the battleground of Sky Temple. A little summarization real quick for those of you who might not be familiar with it or familiar with myself, Shengucher, or my very very handsome co-caster nerd Dreadnought. You capture the temples, they spawn periodically. There is a sort of algorithmic sort of formula to the temples we'll go over in the game, but you hold the temples, you stand firm, and they basically shoots lasers. That's right, here and here's the storm. We have lasers onto the structures, take the structures out. And that's pretty much the complete summarization of this battleground. This is still a best of one, so both of these teams have to put their best foot forward. It's a best of one. You can't be playing lightly right now, because once you're out, you're out. But whoever does win this is going to go to the finals, a best of 3 series.
Yeah, absolutely, and here we go. We do have Blank in the blue trunks on the left-hand side of the map here. Matre is actually going to be sitting on the Kel'Thas. Then we have Krahi going to be on the Rainer. Arvaragi is going to be on the Stitches. Zugrug is going to be on the Tyrande, and we have Game Chess on that Tassadar there.
On the right side of the map, in the red team, or not in the red team, they are the red team. I guess you could say they're in it. They are in there, boys. Adrenaline, we're going to have Rosako on the Uther, Kemet on Falstad, Trash Talk on Sonya, Silent Fury, and his very stoic mannerism is going to be playing that Vala. And the king himself is going to be ETC, the king of rock, here on the battleground of Sky Temple. The gates are down, this game is underway, and it looks like these teams are not going to be running into each other here.
No, and they see the site taken on top, and they are automatically look at this. Blank is looking for the cheese. They know it's coming somewhere. There it is on the lower half of the map. Let's see if they're able to disengage Adrenaline properly this time. Unlike their opponents at game number 1, they're looking for the second turret. This might be a little bit greedy. Hook already coming out.
His barrel roll is going to be out of there, so with the advice of his good friend Peppy, Falstat's going to stay alive, the Lunar Flare off the mark, and it's going to be business as usual. I guess we're just going to see a 5-man rotation. Okay, there we go. We're starting to see the lanes take shape. It's going to be Falstad versus Tassadar. Tassadar's great in that solo lane position, but Falstad can be as well. With certain matchups, he dominates, but right now, I guess it's just clearing down the wave in the middle lane, rotating around, and both these teams trying to find a pickoff. A blind hook, you miss every hook you don't take, and unfortunately, Aragi is going to miss that one.
Yeah, Rainer's going to be in the top lane here. I like their decision-making with the laning phase here. Keep in mind, they do have inferior wave clear over their opponents, which you can see Trash Talk and friends are going out of the way to take advantage of. There they go, looking to control the vision. But really, this strategy coming out from Team Blank does not dominate the laning phase, except for maybe a couple of picks, which, keep in mind, is inferior to like the Murden Tyrande version of picks. It's a lot harder to get away with than most compositions. It really doesn't become absurdly strong until the mid to late game. Early game picks usually aren't that influential, and they're very difficult to get away with, and the death timers need to be extended here. Interesting choice for them to decide to contest over mid here, because I do feel like without the pick, they have the inferior laning. There goes the hook, though. Gonna land. Great combo.
Uther, does he have a heal? He doesn't have a protective shield. The Holy Light's going to keep him alive, but neither of these teams have level 4, and with the first temples that spawn, usually comes down to which team can hit level 4 beforehand, and can they hit level 4 with a significant margin ahead of the enemy team. Otherwise, it looks like this is going to be pretty even. Both these teams are going to hit level 4 around the same time, with Adrenaline taking the temple up to the top, and down in the middle part of the map, we see Blank taking that one. Neither of these teams really contesting over each other over these temples.
Yeah, and we saw that Blank was actually able to get in the shots far earlier. Their time is actually almost done. They're going to take this vision here. I wouldn't be surprised if they are actually the ones that contest on top. Keep in mind, Tassadar's in the lower half of the map. There is going to be a beautiful combo there on the Uther. It's not going to be enough, though. His heal is going to keep him alive, and this is a 4 versus 4 fight. Great ETC stun. Hook's going to miss. This is now 4 versus 5 with the Adrenaline making the early rotation on that Falstad.
They got to be careful here, because the Tassadar started to rotate up here, but now it's just sitting in mid lane soaking. So despite the fact that they are down a man right now, the big thing to take in consideration is Blank is now soaking more effectively. Now Falstad's finally starting to go down to the mid lane, but for a small period of time, Blank was having a full extra lane of soak as opposed to Adrenaline. And we see there's a little bit of an experience advantage. There's initiation on Sonya, but ETC goes down as well. They're trying to get a takedown right there, but it looks like an uncharacteristic misplay of Adrenaline right here, Dreadnought. They weren't focusing down the right targets. They got split apart. The Lunar Flare not going to land, but I think Silent Fury should go down. There's the Holy Light, the Sentinel, the Grady Labs. Oh my lord! Silent Fury is going to stay alive, but unfortunately, the sacrificial Uther is what kept him here. So a decisive, easy 2 takedowns for Blank. That's going to get them the temple, and already level 7 on the horizon for them.
Yeah, and not only, not even to take in consideration that Tassadar was pushing on the bottom lane the entire time, while Falstad had a really hard time understanding what he wanted to do in rotations. Really what won that fight there was not only did they lose the early skirmish on the middle temple as they were looking to cap, but then they did end up rotating to the top, taking a 4 versus 5, backing out. But when you saw that Blank moved into the shrine, Adrenaline, all 4 people were on the shrine with all Falstad there, and were all about half health. while the
Yeah.
bars for Blank were completely maximized there. It didn't even matter landing the good hook. It just came down to the fact that their health bars weren't there. And that ended up not only losing them the shrine, 2 shrines in a row from the late cap chest is going to be picked up on the bot there. Really well done there. The burst coming in, a little bit of split push, but it really just came down to not capping the shrine as early as possible while they were capping on mid, but then also taking a fight while being down by a lot, substantially, when it comes to the health bars.
Yeah. So the next temple is going to be spawning down in the bottom part of the lane, and we see the teams are now transitioning, just trying to put a little bit of pressure in the bottom lane. The siege camp being picked up, of course, by Team Blank, and that's going to put some pressure in the bottom lane, push out the lane, and open up a little room for them to navigate this area, circumnavigate this area when the time comes with the temple, if that lane is pushed out. We see on the other side of the map, though, oh man, Vol is in a lot of trouble. Silent Fury is going to be taken out, and it's going to be a very untimely takedown, Dreadnought. If the temple spawns here relatively soon, it looks like it won't be, though. It could have been, though, but now oh man, a potentially aggressive invasion onto the Bruiser camp on Blank. Trash Talk's got to be careful. He knows it's here. Oh man, this is such a disaster for Adrenaline. They're going to get the takedown onto the Sonya, maybe. Oh, there's the follow-up hook. Trash Talk has no protective shield. There's a wave of light. She's spinning to win, but no, she's going to get taken out. So a well-executed invasion of the Bruiser camp by Blank. They picked up the Bruiser camp. The temple spawning in the south. They are putting themselves in great position here, Dreadnought.
Definitely, and I mean, that invasion right after getting the pick on Vala was definitely a smart decision-making there, giving them the early rotation to cap it on bottom. They have the advantage of 10, and they understand that their opponents will not be able to contest. That shrine on bottom will give them the level of 10 advantage here, and then they will force the fight even in this 3 versus 4. It doesn't matter. When you do have the level 10 advantage, it's pretty easy to win every fight here. So smart gameplay coming up for Blank, taking absolutely every advantage that they possibly can there. And the saddest part about that situation, Hook coming out, got to be missing there. Trash Talk, but Shane, this skirmish might lead to a takedown. There it goes on Vala.
They're at level 10 right here versus not even level 9 from Adrenaline. They got to be careful. And I think with the takedown onto the Vala, who almost got away initially with the vault, but the follow-up was there to take her out. This is going to give Blank not only that beautiful level 10 heroic that all teams love to get, firm control of the temple down in the bottom lane. And are they thinking about pushing down the inner structures? Yeah. They absolutely can. They got great pushing capability with the Rainer, and they're going to get some inner structures. These tier 2 towers give a huge amount of experience each, and that is going to give them a great head start going into the race for level 13.
Absolutely. I love the shot calling decision making here from Team Blank. Not only did they end up getting that, you saw they took a minute to hesitate, to question whether or not they wanted to kind of move towards the boss half of the map there with their level 10 advantage, understanding that this early game of a boss actually doesn't do very much for them, deciding to push on mid overall on their own, now backing out, gonna look to take the boss, getting as much value out of their XP lead as they possibly can, understanding that our opponents are still not 10, what can we take on the map, and completely capitalizing on that. And a lot of that all came down to one staggered death. And it's just led to staggered death after staggered death here. The saddest part about all that situation, too, is that Stitch's hook that the Vala ended up getting picked with the first staggered death here. Force Wall might come out here to zone Trash Talk in this. Bile coming out, the beautiful Lunafair. Cleansed right out the gate.
Oh, no. No cleanse Force Wall. Trash Talk, he is going to be taken out. The hooks from Aragagi have been on point here, man. Not only have they been on point, but he's been very patient with them and only utilizing them when he knows that big things like cleanse and whatnot are on cooldown. So the boss being taken, no Sonya on the field for the better part of about 10 to 15 seconds, and now with this boss in the bottom lane, this is the boss might not be the relatively strongest boss in the world for the battleground, and considering it's so early in the match, but level 12 to level 10, if they want to, they might be able to get the keep here. They got to be careful not to overstay their welcome, but Hyperion is up. They can decide to use Hyperion, slow siege this, if not get the keep, at least do enough damage to it to where the temples are going to be threatening it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And they end up backing out, taking the safe play. Keep in mind there is no Mule as an option here for Adrenaline and friends, so they are not going to be able to heal that up. After this top 4 dies, that will be the keep to die. They do have 13 tier advantage here. It looks like they're probably going to be trying to pick the fight here with this fish in the barrel strategy that they do have here. Araragi's hooks are all that we're going to be looking out for here. There you go. They see they had 13. They're going to wait for their opponents to take a shrine and then rotate for the aggression. There it is. They know they're not on top because of the vision, and here they go to bottom to look to get this fight. Keep in mind, Kel'Thas with a little bit of slow rotation, but this is all the hooks here. Look at that zoning, aggressive positioning. Love this. Absolutely love this from Team Blank.
They're doing so very well. Level 13 online. Now Kel'Thas has an important chain bomb. Mighty Gust to pushing them away, but I think that was more so false. I was just in a bad position. Here comes the Hyperion to the Shadow Stalk. So in an active subterfuge, they look to engage on top of King. They got to be careful of Mosh Pit here, though, because Divine Shield Mosh Pit is online. If they clump up, they can get punished. King's looking for it, but no, he's going to get stunned up, hooked away the Mosh Pit onto the Stitches, but a little bit too late. The Divine Shield spread on a Trash Talk as well. And right now, a lot of people are actually low on the side of Blank. They might get punished for it. The Taskar is going to be able to get away with that level 13 Pressions, but yeah, this is going to be a very successful team fight for Blank once again. The Mosh Pit wasn't there. Vala's going to get taken out. 3 takedowns once again. Team Blink coming out ahead in that exchange. They're going to get the temple in the bottom. Uther's got to be careful here. He's going to pick up the shrine. I'm sorry, the temple in the mid part of the map, but he's got to make sure not to overstay his welcome and get taken out. But it looks like the main priority here for Team Blink is to finish off that keep that they weren't able to get just a little bit ago.
No Hyperion, so this is going to be a little bit of risk. Yeah, the Gust's going to come out and keep it alive. Top shrine didn't die. Our top 4 hasn't died yet. The middle shrine will end up not confirming the bottom keep, so that keep is yet to go down. But keep in mind, that team fight was not won with the strategy that Blink has with their draft. That was a blunt, forced fight, just running into their opponents, but it was all because they took absolutely flawless positioning minus a little bit of hesitation on the initiation. They knew they had the talent tier advantage. They knew that 2 people were split out of the shrine, and the minute that they did that, they aggressively positioned themselves that they said, okay, we're going to split you guys. 3 people here, 2 people here. We're going to bile, and there's no way you're going to move in or out for free. And they won that fight even without landing the hooks. There comes one in. It's going to be a big pick there. But at this point... Yeah, I mean...
It's looking pretty grim for Edrenaline, who have been a very dominating team thus far. They may have met their match. This is a battleground that is essentially on a clock. Once you get down to the point where all the structure is down, you get a temple, and all of a sudden the core is just getting nicked away by the laser beams. We might see a situation with level 16 to level 13, and that just speaks volumes. There's Uther, is there a Lunar Flare? He doesn't have Cleanse, he doesn't have Protective Shield, he forces the Divine Shield out. I feel like at this stage of the game, not using the Divine Shield, just taking the death might be a little bit more ideal, because that way when you come back, at least you do have the Divine Shield. But he keeps himself alive. The pressure from Blank continues. They're going to make an aggressive invasion on this Bruiser, force a response in the top lane. I mean, this is just their battleground. They can go across the battleground, paint it blue, and continue to play the way they want to play.
Absolutely, and this is such a crippling position. They are going to take this fight with the talent tier up, even though they have a 16. He does land the hook there on Misako. He ends up dying. D-Shield just came off a cooldown, but honestly, this is a situation where let's see what Blink has as an option to win this game. And not only do they have the 4-level lead, let's even take away that. Just structurally, they're so far ahead of their opponents. Like you said, that clock is so hard to deal with on this map. The reasoning for this is now because structurally they're so far ahead. Even if they only trade shrines for the rest of this game, even with like not taking a single team fight, each shrine that they get now threatens a keep. Well, if you get bottom shrine, they actually threaten 2 keeps within just 1 shrine rotation, meaning they don't even need to fight their opponents from this point on. They're just going to out-rotate them. Like obviously, they're going to force the fights with this big of an advantage, but they don't even have to.
Man. King went in there for a mosh pit, but he's not respecting that relentless leader coming out from Raynor, which is sort of a soft counter to ETC initiation. Uther's in trouble. Good Mighty Gust to disengage Blink right there, but the main prize right there, actually Vala, unfortunately, way out of position, just to put it bluntly. She was just not with the rest of her team, and now it's going to get exploited on. And I think this right here is showing signs of a team that is demoralized and is not wanting to fight this out. Relentless leader, they do hit the kill Thos. They get it taken on Tawanda. So maybe a little bit of overextension here from Team Blink. This is something they needed. Level 13 is online. But despite that, the kill Thos goes down. So that is what Edrenaline needed. But again, as you were mentioning, that structurally, that Edrenaline is so far behind, even with taking those 2 takedowns and having a full 5-man advantage on the battleground. What can they do with this?
They absolutely need to force. Okay, the hook coming out here. I'd try and get the peel here. They need to deny both shrines. They can't be okay with trading here. Beautiful decision making. That Gus is absolutely crucial. Not only did that give them 1 more pick, that allows them to actually potentially cap both of these shrines here. Get on it as fast as they can. Take advantage. You have 45 seconds to turn this game around. Get the tempo swing in your favor there. Yes, they do get a pick, and yes, this is the first sign of life that we've seen out of Edrenaline since this early game lead, but it's not going to be enough unless they dominate the shrines here. Here they go with the early cap here. This is going to give them 16 tier advantage. It will put them on even playing field. They will not have the opportunity of keeps, even though they're down on their own. But here, like I said, that time advantage. Sonya getting picked there does set it to where it's only 4 versus 4 at this time. So here we go. This is not only mid keep, this is now going to lead to bottom keep as well. All keeps are going to be down because they lost that Sonya. They aren't able to force this fight on their opponents, and that's really what set Edrenaline behind. They tried to bite off more than they could chew, really.
And when it comes to trading, temples in this situation. This is going to favor the team that's ahead
Absolutely.
structurally, and that is Blank. They are
Yep.
way ahead structurally. I mean, the only structure available on the map right now is that keep, and we now see that Adrenaline is forced in a response. They want to take a team fight. They have to take a team fight.
There
This
goes
is their last chance. There's a hook on a Silent Fury, going to get away. King goes in. He popped the Relentless Leader, so he might turn around for a mosh pit, but it's on cooldown. So he went in with no mosh pit and just gets absolutely punished. Destroyed the strength of the Hunter's Mark of Tyrande, rearing its ugly head right there. Now Silent Fury is going to go down. He tried mounting up, but the Rainer quick on his heels to follow it up onto her. 2 teammates down for Adrenaline, possibly 3. The Lunar Flare is going to get dodged. Is it the shoes? But he can't dodge the hook right there. Those hooks have been on point. And Dreadnought, I think this is going to be the end of the game right here. Adrenaline looks like they finally met their match. The Hyperion putting the cherry on top. So congratulations to Blank. They are going to move on to the finals.
Yeah, they're going to be able to win this game. As long as they stay spread here and play smart. Tyrande's out of position. Keep this in mind. They actually might... This is a little bit of risky just because they aren't focusing the core anymore. The Gus coming out to get the little bit peel. He's going to die here, but now ETC spawned because of this Gus. ETC might have an opportunity to turn this around. This is all because they didn't focus the core. They split.
Oh,
the
no.
knockback, dodging the mosh.
Relentless Leader right there.
That was what that was the cherry on top there. The Relentless Leader getting the knockback allows them to win the game here and come back. But it was a little bit of risky. That's actually, if you know, that is probably the #1 sign of weakness that we saw out of that game coming from Blank. There was 2 attempts to the core, and both of them were not with direct intent. They definitely all kind of had the idea of what they were wanting to do, but none of them were actually truly executed as a team, and they led to 2 situations where, in this case, yes, you were not going to lose the game because the map specifically makes it a lot harder. #1, and then #2, just with the composition that we see out of Adrenaline, it's a little bit harder to make anything major happen past that point. But it against maybe this next team that they're going to be going up against here in the grand finals, I don't know if we actually know who that is. That might be Das Go, the underdogs.
It is.
The dark horse. Let's go. The dark horse is here. That might be a problem. That might be, we might see that be single-handedly dictate one game just from that split decision making. Like, and it's so strange to see, right? Because they did so well, specifically levels 8 through 13. Their shot calling was almost perfect. Almost flawless during that time, and then it got really weird the minute the core call got, like, everything kind of went out the window. So